It's time for another episode of Lenical Difficulties, talking the latest in pop culture news. And now, for the lesser known star of your show, Len.
Hello, my friends. It is I, Len, or SkeleLen, as we are called today on National Halloween Day. I'm not quite sure what this accent is, but we're going with it. Now it's gone because so hey everybody, happy Halloween. I can't words anymore. Today is just such a fun day. I can't focus on one single thing, and why does that surprise no one who's listening? Because that sounds like any other show that I have on Lenical Difficulties. But today we're going to be talking about Vincent Price. I'm going to tell you some spooky, scary places here around Kansas City that you should check out before the spooky season is over. And I have some Halloween cards to read, some funny Halloween cards. So yeah, let's get right into the show. I did think about doing scary voices and scary noises and stuff this whole time, but there might just be some music underneath my audio or something like that when I get to reading spooky, scary things. Yeah, let's get right into Vincent Price. So Vincent Price, for those who don't know, is the person who voiced the who voiced the rap in the Michael Jackson Thriller. And I was reading up about it, and my mom actually gave me this idea. I wanted to talk about Thriller at some point in my show because it's such a iconic Halloween movie, or not Halloween music, a Halloween song now. So let's see how far we get into these 10 facts that I found out, plus an additional rumor. And then whatever I don't get, I'll get in the next segment, and we'll keep going because it's kind of really cool stuff, and I want to talk about it. So Vincent Price died on October 25th, 1993, but he starred in over 90 movies, starred and guested, as in he was a guest star, on dozens of TV shows, maintained a regular spot on the Hollywood Squares, and hosted a PBS show called Mystery throughout the 1980s. Here's 10 facts about his work in Michael Jackson's Thriller. So, Rod Temperton, who wrote the song, envisioned, in his own words, a talking section at the end, but couldn't figure out where to go with the idea. The second fact is that Temperton narrowed down his talking section to a vocal provided by somebody of famous voice in the horror genre. So, Peggy Lipton, who at the time was married to Quincy Jones, Jackson's producer at the time, knew Vincent Price and suggested him. Third fact, Price told Johnny Carson that after he agreed to do the voice work, he was given a choice between taking a percentage of the album proceeds or a flat $20,000. Price took the $20,000. Later, Carson told him, hey, you probably should have taken the album percentages because obviously it did really well, and now he knows that. Was kind of Price's response. Fact number 4. Once Price was booked and the song's recording session scheduled, the rap still needed to be written. Temperton penned the rhyme in the taxi on the way to the studio, which I thought that's like ultimate procrastination, if I do say so myself. Fact 5, and the last one I'll talk about for this segment before we have to head to break. A recording engineer noted that while Price was delighted to contribute his vocals to the song, he was startled by the headphones when he arrived at the studio, having never used them before. When he reluctantly put them on, he jumped out of his chair in surprise upon hearing the funky music track he was to speak over. He ultimately needed a little help with his cues to speak over the music, but he ended up nailing it. And if nobody knows what I'm talking about, so basically, those are that's 5 of the 10 facts in the rumor that I have, but I wanted to cover the other 5 in the next segment because I feel it has to do more with movies and stuff. But I just thought when I was reading it, Rod Temperton actually wrote the song to be something about like sunlight as opposed to Thriller Night. And so then when Michael Jackson Temperton, probably Quincy Jones had a hand in it as well, that decided on making the song a horror song or like spooky. He had to change the lyrics of everything. So honestly, like Vincent Price, they make fun of him on SNL all the time, because gosh, what's his name? The guy Will Forte, no, not Will Forte, Bill Hader. Bill Hader, sorry, I was thinking of the other guy. There's those two I see too frequently. But Bill Hader does a really good Vincent Price impression. And so, like, a lot of usually there's, like, if you watch, I recently did this myself. I went through and watched, like, the best Halloween skits of SNL. And it's like 40 whatever skits, and they kind of range from season to season. And there's one, I think there's a couple actually, but the one that I saw before I had to go, as in stop the playlist, was Vincent Price parody with Kristen Wiig and John Hamm. So it must have been somewhat recently, as other characters of the show, not of the show. Yeah, no, that's right, of the show. And like Vincent Price was like, hey, okay, I've got stars on the show today, and they're supposed to be in costumes. So let's see what happens. And like Kristen Wiig comes out as whoever she's supposed to be, and she's not in costume. And she's like, I'm a pirate or whatever. And Vincent Price, as you know, Bill Hader is like, no, you're supposed to be wearing a costume, like kind of. And it's this goofy, weird, kind of over-dramatic, which is perfect for the style of what Vincent Price's mystery was, as well as what Vincent Price stood for, and all the actors that he has appearing, all the actors, quote-unquote, as in, like, his guest stars for the show, would have acted like. So, yeah, I think Vincent Price is important, and because I wanted to talk about Thriller, who really doesn't want to have a thrilling evening, but it's such, like I said, it's such an iconic song, and while I was reading this article at the end, they have the music video, and I had forgotten how long this song is. It's like 13, like the music video is like 13, almost 14 minutes long, and that's because it ran with credits and stuff. Whereas, like, I think the actual music video, I guess I could look it up real quick. Looking it up, the actual music video basically ends because there's the whole narrative with Michael Jackson and his girlfriend, in the music video. It ends around 12 minutes. And so then basically there's a minute and 40 something seconds of running credits and the music kind of playing in the background again as well. Because there was so much acting going on between, not like between, but because there was so much more of like, it felt like a home video sort of with the music and the dancing added in kind of. Like, and I think that's what the feel they were going for, was that it felt like it was a TV show. And so I think it's really good. I liked watching it again. And, it made me miss Michael Jackson, because really, who doesn't miss Michael Jackson? His art was, his music was rare art. And it's hard to, I don't know if anybody has heard the Akon and Michael Jackson song called Hold My Hand. And I was listening to it recently because I stumbled upon it when I was like looking up stuff about Michael Jackson. And I can't tell, like, I'm not sure, 100% sure if Akon or Michael Jackson or whatever, like who reached out to who about this song. But they are both on this song, and I don't know if like Michael Jackson was going to put this on his next album or whatever, because he passed away before anything could happen with it. So I don't know what the initial plan for that was. I just, like, I was listening to it, and it makes me, it makes you miss an artist when they're gone, is when you're listening to music and you're like, wow, like, it feels like, he had so much more to share with us in terms of musical genius. But it's Yeah, what are you going to do? Like, when it's time for them to go, it's time for them to go, even though there's all sorts of conspiracy about it anyway. But that's not what my show's about. I don't talk conspiracy. That would be for another time. Which, if my show was all about conspiracy theories, which initially I had maybe thought about doing that, which was talking about conspiracy theories, but I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist myself. But, the whole concept of Michael Jackson having been drugged or overdosed and all that stuff, there's no real, like, people are going to think what they're going to think about that sort of thing. But that's not, like, I just think, I don't know what to think. Like, I was young when he passed away. Like, not that young, but young enough that I don't quite remember right off the top of my head. But we'll have to talk about this more when we get back from break. I've been Len on ECAV Radio. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I make attempt at this accent again, and now it's going a little weird, like more like my Russian accent, and less like that Eastern European thing that I started with, and now it's totally gone. Hey, that's why I don't do accents anymore. But anyway, so let's get right into the Price facts again. So the last one I mentioned was that Price had trouble with the headphones. So the sixth fact is that Price recorded his portion of the song in only 2 takes. Quincy Jones noted that recording voiceover work is notoriously difficult, and he praised Price's work and accuracy as fabulous. Fact 7. You won't necessarily hear Price's voice when you listen to the song. If you purchased the 7-inch single, you were deprived of his rap and spooky laugh, as the song had to be shortened for time, as it were. Not episode 8. Fact 8. In case all you've got is the 7-inch version, here's Price's masterful rap. And this is the lyrics from... I'm going to try and do it because I always do it always try when I hear the song to do it like Vincent Price. But obviously I'm not Vincent Price, but here's my attempt. Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller. And then, like, evil diabolical laughter that I can't really do. It's, like, not even, like, diabolical. It's, like, deep and gravelly and scary, which I can do diabolical laughter on a good day, but today's not that day, in terms of, for my voice anyway. So in case you've forgotten, that's what it is. But according to Fact 9, Temperton wrote a much longer rap that was cut to the above verses, the ones I just read, in the original release. The full version can be heard in the 2001 remaster of Thriller, along with a brief conversation between Price and Jackson. A portion of the extended version is also included on the 2008 Thriller 25 release. Fact number 10, and our last fact about Vincent Price. As for the music video, Price is there too. When Jackson and his girlfriend, played by Ola Ray, leave the movie theater in the music video, the marquee reads Vincent Price Thriller, a fictional film. On the wall outside the theater, a poster of Price's real film, House of Wax, is displayed. And here's the rumor. So this is only a rumor, but in the music video, in the very last frames after all the credits have rolled, so if you stay through the 13 minutes and however long I said, the zombie seen in is allegedly an uncredited Vincent Price in full gory makeup. See for yourself at around 13 minutes and 37 seconds if you're looking at the original Thriller music video. And I looked at it, and it's hard to tell. Because if you're done up in makeup and, like, put all this, like, plastic and stuff on you, make you look like your face is falling off, you're not going to look like anybody underneath that. You're going to look like somebody with their face falling off. So, yeah, honestly, I think this stuff is really interesting just because it's stuff you might not necessarily have thought of. And the article that I went to was looking at it around the time of like October 25th, 2000. Let's see, it was 6 years ago, like 2000 and maybe, I don't know. I can't do math anymore. 2011. And they were saying like it was the 25th anniversary or so. I don't remember. They were doing it for a specific anniversary of Vincent Price's death. And with also kind of coinciding with the like, actually, I don't think it was Vincent Price's death. Actually, like I'm trying to remember what I read in the article at the beginning. I think it was to commemorate Thriller's anniversary. But it was also like because Vincent Price had also recently died when they put it up because it was like published on October. Not recently died, but it was published on October 20 something of of the year, whatever 6 years ago was, and 2011. So it was like October 20, like 6th or whatever, and that would have been an anniversary of the 25th would have been an anniversary of his death. So it kind of all coincided with that. But it's just really interesting. Like, and I know that anybody, like, you don't think it doesn't sound like a rap because he says it like slowly and whatever. But you can definitely see like if they sped it up, it could be a rap as well. So it's just the way the prose falls. And it's really incredible considering like, okay, so you listen to that and you read that or you see it and like as in like if you're watching a lyric video or whatever, it's like spooky. It's exactly what they wanted. And dude got it in 2 takes. Like, congratulations. I can't do anything in 2 takes. And it's just incredible, like it's exactly what they wanted. And I would love to, I haven't had a chance yet. I need to listen to the full version of the rap to see if it's equally as spooky. But I imagine so, because obviously they had him record the whole thing, but it was all cut out. So yeah, or that would be really cool to look into. I also think that they paid homage to him sort of by mentioning, like, quote unquote, mentioning him in the like background design of the music video. I think that was probably more a design idea than it was necessarily like on purpose. But like I don't think people realize that that's Vincent Price, doing that voice. Because as my mom said, because I was telling her some of this stuff, and she goes, well, he was the original voice of horror. He's, he has the voice of horror as opposed to, like Alfred Hitchcock, I almost didn't say it, is like a voice in horror as well, but not necessarily his actual voice. But like, anyway, sorry, just getting, I think it's, really sad though that you don't like there are versions of the song out there. Potentially, if anybody still owns the 7-inch single, like there's still versions of that song out there without Vincent Price on it, just because they had to cut it for time. And it's like, which it makes sense. It's a long song. Like if you cut out, like if you listen to the music video and you cut out the parts like where, like there's instrumental breaks and then there's like the instrumental break leading up to like Vincent Price's rap. And if you like cut that part out, you cut like the credits and everything. And, there's obviously not the big lead up of like the music video before the music even starts. Like you cut all that stuff out and that song is like almost 6 minutes long. Well, no, probably it'd be closer to 5 if you cut out all like, if you cut out the rap. Because I think it's like 1.5 minutes on its own. Because he paces himself and it's slow, but it's fast enough as well that it's not too long. But yeah, so that's like a 5-minute song, and on a CD or a single or whatever however you're trying to release it, and you're trying to get, a 5-minute long song is a big deal. Whereas I was, like back in the day, quote unquote, like there was a time where basically 2-minute long songs were like the norm. And now we're getting into like longer songs, or like 3.5, 4 minute songs are kind of the standard thoroughfare now. And when it's a shorter song or when it's a longer song, we complain about it. But honestly, it's the same way with movies. I mentioned that like we're getting longer movies. No, that's not true. We're getting shorter movies because, again, back in the day, quote unquote, on like VHSs and stuff, movies were like 2.5 hours usually. That was just kind of standard, like running length for films, and now it's like we have them at 1.5 hours or closer to 2, and we usually don't go over 2. And when we go over 2, that's a long movie that we have to sit through. And so we don't like it. I think it's part of the go, go, go mentality of the 21st century, where basically everything is at our fingertips and everything is fast. And so I think that's part of it, that we don't have like long songs. We have shorter, we have longer songs than like 2 minutes, but we have, but they're not over 5, I would say, on an average. And then, like with movies, we've shortened the time down to fit what we need to know in the hour and 45 minutes that we're sitting there for that film. So that way we can just get up and go when we're done. Which sounds really sad, but I think that's just, like I said, I think it's part of the mentality of today. I do love that Vincent Price, like I didn't mention this when he was talking about the money to Johnny Carson, but he was like, "Oh, I'll take the 20,000 because my career's all right, and I'm happy to do this thing. Like I don't need the money. Money's not a problem." And then now, like later thinking about it, because I think Johnny Carson was interviewing him after the album was released, or not the album, the single was released, and they saw how well it did. That, oh hey, maybe you should have taken the percentage of the album sales because how well it did. And Vincent Price responded basically like, well, now I know that. Like I didn't know that at the time, which he would have been like, hey, if I'd known, or if I had thought that it was going to be such a huge thing, maybe I would have bought that, got that extra insurance in terms of like having a little bit extra money, which, doesn't always hurt. But like at the time he was being like, no, like I'll just take the 20,000. That's it, which is kind of cool. Price is a really, like, in terms of voiceover work, that's like a really big idol to me. But we'll have to talk about this more when we get back from break. I've been Len on ECAV Radio. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back from break. You're listening to Lenical Difficulties on ECAV Radio. Don't forget to text that text line 913-416-9722 if you have anything you want to say to me or any of the other DJs, especially about our spooky Halloween specials. Let's get right into my topic for this segment, which is haunted places in Kansas City. So, Mother, if you're listening, I'm going to do the scary voice now. Not for the whole thing, but just for like a few seconds. So, first stop on the list is Hotel Savoy, located at 9th and Central Streets in Kansas City. Hotel Savoy doesn't offer ghost tours, but guests have reported hauntings from 2 spirits, Betsy Ward and Fred Leitner. Lightner. Guests and staff claim to hear strange voices, laughter, the usual, like, unexplainable noises and things. And also they've seen a full-body apparition of a 1930s dressed man. So that's probably, like, I believe Betsy Ward died of a heart attack in her room 505, and Fred Leitner haunts the 4th floor. I don't remember what his death story was. But yeah, that's just a little bit, that's one of them. And next, the John Warnell House, located at 6115 Warnell Road. So then next we have the John Warnell house, which is a Civil War era house that is so haunted that neighbors experience weird sightings, and some have even gone so far because they've seen so many weird sightings or unexplainable things to like white out their windows or block them or hang crosses and stuff facing the mansion, facing the house. Some hauntings you might see on their ghost tour, which unfortunately doesn't do you any good, but I would recommend for next year maybe, is that Fridays in October they do ghost tours. But anyway, sorry. What you might see on their ghost tour are armed soldiers patrolling the doors and balconies, light orbs floating on the rocking chair in the children's room, and other unexplained voices and noises. One incident reported by a staff member is when the guns hanging in the house all turned to aim at the front door.
The Elms Hotel, 34 minutes north of Kansas City in Excelsior Springs, Missouri.
The Elms Hotel. This hotel used to be like some sort of spa area, and you still use spa stuff there. So that's still available. This hotel has no ghost tours, not surprising. But staying there, you might see spirits of gamblers who hang out around the lap pools where the illegal gambling occurred, and the presence of full apparitions wearing 1920s style housemaid uniforms. So that's pretty cool. I also have experienced some sort of like haunting as well. I used to go to Stevens College. Oh, wait, I used to go
to Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri.
If we're going to keep the trend. But at Stevens College, like, there was hauntings reported there all the time in terms of just because it's an old, like, school. Like, most of those buildings are really old. And a lot of them, like, one of them burned down. Like, there's a bell tower on one of the buildings. I don't remember what the building's called now. But you could climb all the way up to the attic, and that's allegedly where either some little girl hung herself or burned there. Like, basically, she died in the tower, and she doesn't like, I believe the story is that she doesn't like men to go up there. And so basically, like, more men, like, there's very few men on that campus. They're mostly teachers. And there's the occasional, like, transfer. How do I want to say this? They're like exchange students men are exchange students at Stevens, basically, because there are a few that will get into like the theater programs, and are allowed to, they don't live on campus, but they're allowed to take classes there. So I think like basically there was some like some stipulation, like basically like you could go up there at any time and not necessarily feel anything, but if you went there with like, like with a man, or if a man went up there, like they would feel like angry, negative energy. And I think, but like, and I've experienced that feeling of, someone's been in your room or your personal space or whatever, but you don't know who it was. And I thought it was ghosts because I had an upperclassman that I went to high school with, told me that basically Stevens was haunted. And, so I was like, oh, and like the freshman dorm is like really apparently haunted, and I was on the top floor, but the lower floors were more haunted, I guess, because like something bad happened there, like the floods or like a flood like washed out. I don't remember. Like, so I don't even know why I'm trying to tell you these stories because I don't remember precisely. But basically like the lower floors are haunted in the freshman dorms, and Pillsbury, I think it was. I think maybe, I don't remember. There was one that was more like haunted than the other, like for whatever reason. But the dorm room, like like I said, the lower levels were more haunted than the top levels, and like so there was one time I came home from like being in classes, and I'd gone to work study, like I'd been away all day basically, and so I came home and it just felt like something was wrong. So I immediately assumed, well, not immediately, like I just felt like somebody had been there. And so because, meanwhile, I think it was sometime in October actually, and my upperclassman was telling me about ghost stories, that's where my brain went, because it was kind of, and basically it all made sense because hello, it was October, blah, blah, blah. Like in my head, it made sense. And I was also really tired, so that's that too. And I was like, somebody been here? And so I waited until my roommates came home, or my dorm mates, however you want to call it, because we basically shared a bathroom, but we didn't live in the same room. And they were like always away. Like they had weird class hours and they went out and partied a lot and did stuff. Whereas because I worked all day, I was like, I'm staying home forever. I'm never leaving. But they were actually there. And so, or one of them was, and I like knocked on the bathroom door because I didn't want to, I didn't want to freak them out, because like I was like, hey, I was letting them know like, hey, I'm gonna shower or whatever I said. And then I was like, hey, did anybody come in our rooms today? And they were like, oh yeah, some guy came in to to change the blinds on the room. And I told them that they could go into your room because you weren't there. And I said, oh, okay. And I was like, nah, I would never have said that myself if, I would have been like, I would have appreciate, or because I think they watched him. They said that they watched him, so like they, left the door open and watched him as he like put the stuff in there, like a janitor or whatever. But I was like, I don't know if you actually did, because you guys are so preoccupied in yourselves that I doubt you really did. But I like, honestly, like I would have been like, I would rather you come back later when my roommates are here, or I'm going to stand and watch you like 5 feet away from you. Just because it's like, it's somebody else's stuff. And it's like, for all I know, that person made off with like, I don't know, like an ink cartridge for my printer. I don't know. But like, it didn't matter to me. It just like, it basically felt like my space had been violated. And because of when the timing it was, I thought I'd gotten haunted, or that there was something in the room with me. I've also, because of like watching like movies like Paranormal Activity and stuff, I've also become more aware of that feeling that somebody's watching you, or something's in the room with you, that kind of thing. I'm sure everybody can kind of, whether you believe in ghosts or not, everybody has had that feeling where, somebody's here, maybe you're in the room by yourself, but you'll just like pause and it just will feel like something's there, and or like you're being watched or whatever. And it's kind of cool, but it's also like really like kind of off-putting at the same time, because you're like, what is it? Like, is my mom standing outside the doorway waiting for me? And she knocked and I didn't hear her because I was playing games or something, and she wants to talk to me. Like, what is it? Like, but there's been a couple times because of like Paranormal Activity that I've had like really bad dreams, and most of them I don't remember. But like after I saw the first one, I had a really bad dream. And like I told my mom, like I was like, mom, like I ran into like a 5-year-old, ran into my mom's room, woke her up, was like, mom, I can't sleep. Like and I'm not afraid of admitting this because it felt so real at the time. I was like, like I woke up and there was just this like image that I could see from my dream of like this horrifying creature. Now I can't explain it, but basically at the time it was really scary. This horrifying creature like standing at the foot of my bed and like reaching. And if you've never seen Paranormal Activity, like the thing like messes with the blankets and like pulls the covers off so it can possess what's her face or whatever, the main character. But like it like was standing at the foot of my bed and like reaching out for my sheets, as in to like pull my bed covers back. And I was like, what? Like, and so yeah, there was that. But I don't think that's actually like not a paranormal thing. It was like sleep deprivation and a really like poor timing on the dream, like waking up at the wrong time. But like I definitely have had that feeling where somebody's like standing next to me or whatever. It usually happens when I'm like really tired, and so not necessarily aware of my surroundings, but like aware enough to have like spatial awareness. So like basically if somebody was close to my space, like I would sense them, but I'm too tired to notice anything else, kind of thing. But But, like, I notice stuff like that, and most of the time it doesn't feel evil, so I don't think it's a scary demon. But you never know, so if you have a chance to check out those hotels and things, definitely do that because it's the spooky season. If not, we'll have to talk about that more when we get back from break. I've been Len on ECAV Radio. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back from break. This is Len on ECAV Radio. Don't forget to text that text line, 913-416-9722. If you have anything you want to say to me or any of my fellow DJs about our scary, scary shows. Which mine isn't really that scary, but that's the way I want to go. So basically, this is the Lend Me Your Ear segment. So I've got the Halloween cards for you that I went and handpicked myself, and my mom also helped because we were grocery shopping at the time, I believe. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to look at the cards. And then she came over and looked with me and helped me find some of these. So let's get right into what they say. And there's a picture of Butterfingers that I bought because I wanted to torment my friend who loves Butterfingers. Okay, so on this card, there's a picture of a spooky jack-o'-lantern. And it says, what do you get if you divide the circumference of a pumpkin by its diameter? You open the card, and it says, pumpkin pie. Happy Halloween. The next one is two skeletons. One's a little bit angry and holding up a cell phone that has a picture of hip bones. And it says, and who texted you this? And then you open the card, have a hip Halloween. So and we found an actual happy birthday Halloween card. There's the Grim Reaper on it. It says, happy birthday. You open the card. Don't worry, he's only here to cut your cake. So then the next one has a picture of, I can just call it the walking bread. And the walking bread, it says, grains, grains. You open it. Wishing you a happy Halloween. And in parentheses, it's the yeast I could do. Then you open it. Next card is a picture of a skeleton jamming out with a raven holding a jukebox. And so you open the card, and it says, get down with your bad self and have a happy Halloween. So those are some pretty good ones. My favorite has to be the hip bone one, just because I saw it, and I was like, I have to put this in there. It's just so funny, and it's a little bit of innuendo. I don't know if, it's not obvious if I just say it to you, necessarily, because the picture really helps, explain it. And I can only do so much with my words about explaining the picture to you. So, yeah, that's that. I want to also point out that, the DJ after me, DJ Joe, who runs, the show, The Game Corner, that normally runs from 4 to 5, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, has a Halloween special today. So he will run from 4 to 6 and do some Halloween special things like, Halloween music from video games and spooky, scary music from video games. And he'll also have some special guests. And so if you tune in, you might hear somebody familiar. But that's all I'm going to say. And the rest of this segment, I'm going to talk about Halloween music. So I went in and looked at a Halloween playlist as made by the people of YouTube. And so I'm going to read some of these off to you, and I'll sing them if you don't know what I'm talking about, or just in case it's too vague and you don't necessarily know what the song sounds like. So there's the original Ghostbusters theme song. Who you going to call? Ghostbusters, that one. Michael Jackson's Thriller is here as number 2 on the list. There's the Monster Mash music video by the Groovy Ghoulies. Let's see. Spooky Scary Skeleton remix by... Okay. The Nightmare Before Christmas, This Is Halloween is up here. The one that I was listening to, because I was like, I think it's this one. Rockwell, Somebody's Watching Me. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Which is how that song goes, which I thought that's how it went, but you never know, so I rather would have checked. The Addams Family theme song, Screaming Jay Hawkins, I Put a Spell on You. Also from Hocus Pocus, that's the one I know better. One-Eyed One-Horned Flying Purple People Eater is up here. There's some kids' Halloween songs. Beetlejuice has some stuff in here. Werewolves of London is up here, which I think is interesting, but it's Werewolves in London. We got Ramones with Pet Sematary on here. Come Little Children, which is also from, I believe, Hocus Pocus, the song that Sarah Jessica Parker's character sings. It's Come Little Children, I'll take you away. But I don't know if it's actually called Come Little Children, because this could be something different. And because I'm looking at the playlist on YouTube, I would click on it, but then I'd start playing some licensed music. We've got Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. I would agree that should be up here. Rocky Horror Picture, Showtime, more. Let's see. There's a bunch of really kiddie songs. Disturbia by Rihanna is up here, I guess you could argue. Alice Cooper, that makes sense. The Exorcist theme song. Some of these are like grayed out, as in probably you can't listen to them anymore. Or they're inappropriate. I don't know. There's a Tim Burton's Corpse Bride song on here. This is like Tim Burton does some great work for that. But like they didn't even put up like some of the other Halloween, like one of the Halloween songs that I would have thought up here. If you've got This Is Halloween, whoever made this playlist missed up on this. If you got This Is Halloween from from Nightmare Before Christmas, you should have the Boogeyman song on here, which is literally about the like big bad of quote unquote of Halloween Town, singing about how he's the boogeyman. I don't know. That's just a missed song opportunity there. I would have also put the Bette Midler version of I Put a Spell on You in here as well as the Screaming Jay Hawkins one. But people might have just been going for original songs, as in the original version of stuff. So yeah. Honestly, I agree with most of these. I Put a Spell on You is one of my favorite songs to play around Halloween. Between that and Thriller, I really need to get I Put a Spell on You on my iPod. I don't have it on there yet. Thriller I do, but I haven't started listening to it yet as religiously as I normally do, just because I'm just listening to like a playlist that I basically play to wake me up on the way over here, or to like or to just play on my way back kind of thing. And so it's not on that playlist. So right now I'm listening to all the songs I have on my iPod, which is a lot, and it takes a while to get to Michael Jackson, apparently. So maybe I'll listen to that on the way home. Maybe I'll just skip through my playlist. But I also need to get Somebody's Watching Me on here, because I was listening to it and I was like jamming out. But yeah, The Nightmare Before Christmas, you should have the Boogeyman song on there for Halloween, definitely. It's not as well known as This Is Halloween, because it's literally, like, if you type in Halloween songs, This Is Halloween is probably one of the top ones that comes up, as well as Thriller, just because it's literally got Halloween in the title. But like, the Boogeyman song is definitely, it feels more Halloween-y than This Is Halloween to me. Like, This Is Halloween is talking about people, like, here's what we do. You know, this is what our job is. Like, this is Halloween. And I feel like the Boogeyman, it, like, takes one of those jobs that, that they're promoting in the This Is Halloween song and, like, blows it up even further and deeply analyzes it, kind of. Which doesn't make any sense because it's, like, a kid's film. But my point is that they go into further depth with, like, this is what the Boogeyman character is. Like, you know, the Boogeyman is a lot of things for a lot of people, but this is how we're defining him in the song, like, in terms of, like, in the world of The Nightmare Before Christmas. But I had to listen to the Bette Midler version, and I would listen to one that was weirdly that somebody had taken, like, edited it, so, like, HD'd, not HD'd, but had edited the song, like, the scene from the Hocus Pocus film, and they basically cut out all the other audio, so you can only hear Bette Midler singing, and Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Najimy, I think is that name, and basically, like, the sisters, the Sanderson sisters, singing I Put a Spell on You, and with the background vocal people and band and stuff. But like all the other audio has been cut out. So I'm watching this scene and I'm like, that guy, there's supposed to be like dialogue here, like that. The kid is supposed to say like, you got to get out of here, or whatever he's saying, and it's cut out. But like the part is still in the video, because it's showing the whole scene. So the part's still in the video, but they just cut the audio out so you could hear the song better. Which, admittedly, they do have that problem in drowning out Bette Midler, because you want to hear the conversation between the main character, like the boy main character, and his parents. Like, come on, you need to get out of here. There's stuff going on. Like, we need to go. And like that's the real innocence, just whatever he's saying. Basically, like, you want to hear that conversation because it makes for context in the film. But it's also like, you're drowning out Bette Midler, really? She's on a roll up there, and you're gonna like listen to some teenage boy talk, like whatever. Okay, priorities, obviously. It's like the exact opposite of the scenario with Pierce Brosnan, where they were drowning out his horrible singing with Meryl Streep. But it's like, Bette Midler can sing, and I know that there's plot happening in the scene, but I don't care because Bette Midler's singing and I want to hear it. But this is unfortunately the end of our show for today. Thank you for listening. I've been Len, and you've been listening to Lenical Difficulties on ECAV Radio. Happy Halloween.